Mr. Pop.
Music by Gershwin.
I got rhythm, I got music, I got my gal who could ask for anything more. I got Daisy. This is the greatest country in the world. No more unemployment, no more inflation, no more workers on strike, no more violence in the streets. My father says big government is to blame for our problems, and the Jews, and the immigrants, the blacks, the homosexuals, the mentally and physically handicapped. Rats are the lowest form of animals, and the Jews are the lowest form of mankind. If we can get rid of the Jews, the world will be a better place. That is what the Fuhrer says. Heil Hitler! I have been a member of the Nazi youth group since I was 7. Heil Hitler! We say Heil Hitler on our way to school if we meet a friend. We say Heil Hitler at the beginning and end of every class. The postman says Heil Hitler. The woman who sells our groceries says Heil Hitler. If our parents don't say Heil Hitler, we are supposed to report them, and they will be arrested. I promise at all times to do my duty before the Fuhrer, so help me God. November 9th, 1938. Germany needs you. Heil Hitler! Heil Hitler!
My name is Helmut Silberberg. I was born in 1926 in Germany and later moved to Holland to escape the Nazis. My nickname is Hello, which is what Anne Frank called me in her diary. When I was a teenager, I escaped again and hid from the Nazis in a townhouse in Belgium. That's how I survived the Holocaust.
My name is Eva Geringer Schloss. I was born in Austria in 1929. When I was a teenager, I was in hiding for 22 months in Holland. I was arrested by the Nazis and spent 9 months in the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp. I'm a Holocaust survivor.
My grandfather, who lived in Germany in 1933, happened to be on a business trip in Amsterdam, and the day Hitler was elected, he called my grandmother on the telephone and told her to sell everything. He's not coming back to set foot in Germany. He understood something that some people did and some didn't.
When the Germans the Nazis entered Austria in March 1938, suddenly things became quite different for us. Friends which we have had for years didn't want to know us anymore. So I couldn't understand why suddenly I'm different from my friends. And it was something which I really couldn't grasp.
There were people, such as my father, who thought that this would blow over. The idea being that the German people would never allow this to go on. They're civilized. This cannot happen here. This is as far as it's going to go. And he belonged to, unfortunately, to a group of Jewish people who were wrong. Pulled up with a group of thugs. They were civilians from different areas with sledgehammers and various other devices.
Are they gone, Mother? Mother? Please do something! Mother!
My mother, who was at the door, was hit with a sledgehammer over the shoulder.
Are you all right? Did they hurt you?
They hit me!
They had sledgehammers and crowbars. They were drunk.
They hit me!
They slashed the furniture and cut the carpets.
Your father! Where is your father?
They didn't get it.
Did they take your father?
I'm here.
We had a flat roof in back of where we were living. My father was able to get out there. We have often wondered about the reactions of our neighbors who witnessed some of this. And I don't really know. I am certain that there were people in Germany who were abhorred by this, Germans. But not much was done to help the Jews.
You're going to go stay in Amsterdam with your grandparents for a while.
They won't come back, Father. We haven't done anything wrong. You said so yourself.
It's too dangerous, son. We don't know what's going to happen.
What do you mean?
You'll be safe in Amsterdam with your grandparents.
We'll join you as soon as we can. You get scared. You remember our secret whistle, yes?
I knew how to get by streetcar to the railroad station. And on the way, I saw the Essen synagogue in flames, burning. And people from the fire department standing nearby and doing nothing. I was 12 years old. I didn't have a passport at that age, but I had an ID card with my name.
Silberberg, dieser Charles ist Jewish, aber er ist nur ein Kind. Die werden erwachsen, die Kinder, den schnappen wir uns. Den brauchen wir nicht zu nehmen. Wir haben Instruktionen, dass wir alle nehmen von 12 aufwärts. Das sieht man mindestens nach 12 aus. Ja, Befehl ist Befehl, das brauche ich nicht mehr zu hören.
Something happened. I never knew what. At the other end of the station platform, they walked away.
And I got back on the train. But by the time I reached my grandparents' home in Amsterdam, they had no idea what had happened in Germany.
I always felt that at first they really didn't believe me, why I was there.
But the next day it's on the radio, and all over the newspapers, the German Kristallnacht, Night of the Broken Glass. It had destroyed Jewish businesses and burned synagogues. 30,000 Jewish men and boys were arrested and sent to concentration camps. I have no idea when I'll see my family again, or even if I'll see my family again. I'm lucky to be with my grandparents in Amsterdam. For the moment, I'm in a safe place.
My brother Heinz looked rather Jewish, different with me, who is blonde and blue-eyed, and so everybody knew he was Jewish, and his friends from his school, from his class, attacked him one day, and he came home all bleeding, his nose and his eye was cut.
Heinz, what happened?
They attacked me.
Who?
I was at school. I was just standing there.
The
I wasn't
school,
even...
but who would do
They were
that?
just friends. Just kids from school. They called me a filthy Jew and started hitting me.
But why didn't you tell the teacher?
Eva, he was there. My teacher watched the whole thing.
Musi! Now what did he do? Surely he stopped him.
He watched. And then he walked away.
Musi!
This was the situation in Austria at the time.
We leave Austria and immigrate to Belgium.
And then we move again.
And again, we're trying to stay one step ahead of the Nazis.
By 1940, we settle in Amsterdam, Holland, where my father thinks we will be safe.
We will measure you. Every month we will measure you and see how much you've grown. You'll be safe here. We'll all be safe here.
You're growing so fast, Evie. We'll have to have your skirt lengthened.
There was a dressmaker in our block where we lived, and we got there and she said, "Can you just wait in the hall?"
So I sit down and I hear a voice behind the curtain. A girl who sounds very determined. This dress would look much better with shoulder pads. Do you think the hemline's all right this way? I think the hemline should be just a little bit higher. And shoulder pads. Definitely shoulder pads.
It was Anne
Do
Frank.
you like it? Oh, yes.
I didn't know, of course, that later on I was going to be asked questions about her because she became really a very famous person through writing her diary. She was a very pretty girl, very lively, talked a lot, giggled a lot.
Eva, is he looking at me? Who? Don't look! That boy over there. But I don't want him to see us looking. You like boys, Eva? My brother Heinz is a boy. He's perfectly nice. You have a brother? Oh, you're so lucky. I only have a sister, Margot. She's 16 and she says that she doesn't like boys, but I think she's just a big pretender. He's looking again. And he's got a friend. Maybe his friend is in love with you. Well, you should talk to him. I'm still so new, Anne. I can't speak Dutch yet. I feel strange, like I don't belong. Eva, you must come to my flat and meet my father. He can speak German to you.
Otto Frank, when I met him first, was a very tall, distinguished-looking gentleman. He right away made me feel very much at home. And he spoke to me in German, which was wonderful because I'd just been in Amsterdam perhaps for 6 weeks and I didn't speak the language, of course. I didn't suspect that later on he was to become my stepfather.
The Nazis came in with their armies on May 10th, 1940, and occupied the Netherlands rather quickly.
After 5 days, the Germans had won the war. They bombarded Rotterdam, and the Dutch capitulated. So then we realized we were really trapped. They started to take the measures against the Jewish population. So life became very, very difficult.
Jews are not allowed to go outside after 8 o'clock at night.
And not before 6 o'clock in the morning.
Posters and signs are everywhere.
Notices appear in the newspaper.
Jews are not allowed to go shopping in certain shops. Only Jewish shops.
And only between the hours of 3 and 5 p.m.
And now Jews are forbidden to attend theaters or the movies. We're not even allowed to have a radio.
Which is terrible, because the radio's the only place where we can get information about the war.
Oh, and music. I miss listening to music on the radio.
I had this little sailboat on the Amstel River, but I had to hand it over to the Nazis. Jews are not allowed to own boats.
Jews are not allowed to participate in any athletic activity in public.
You can't do this and you can't do that. Jews are forbidden to visit Christians in their homes.
Christians are not allowed to teach Jews.
We have to leave our
We
schools.
have to leave our
We
friends
have to go to Jewish schools.
with Jewish teachers.
Jews are not allowed on public transportation.
We can't ride the
We
buses.
can't ride the train.
We can only ride our bicycles.
And then we had to hand in our bicycles.
By the time it became a very serious issue, a freedom-threatening issue, it was too late. There was no place to go.
Beginning on April 29, 1942, all Jews in Holland were required to wear the yellow star.
But why do we have to wear it?
It shows you're Jewish. You can be proud of it. There's nothing wrong with being a Jew.
It had to be sewn on the left-hand side of our garment, on exactly a particular spot.
Every outside piece of clothing must show the yellow star. Evie, listen very carefully. You must always wear the yellow star now. If you don't, the Germans could arrest you.
I was sitting outside with his friend. It was a hot day, so he took off his jacket. He didn't have a yellow star on his shirt. An informer Nazi saw us and arrested my friend. He was 16 years old. He hasn't been heard from since.
The Green Police would cordon off a block of apartment buildings in Amsterdam and go from apartment to apartment, ringing doorbells. People would open, they would march in and look for young people.
I was in my grandparents' bedroom when they knocked. And the door to the wardrobe was open, so I stood behind it. And the Nazis, they came in, and they looked all around the room. They even looked inside the wardrobe. They didn't look behind the open door. And they left. They didn't see me. By sheer dumb luck, they just didn't see me.
I received this diary from my parents for my 13th birthday. The cover is red fact. It's the most beautiful diary ever. Hundreds of these blank pages. I can't even begin to imagine what I'll write in them. Something unexpected happened to me yesterday morning. As I was passing the bicycle racks, I heard my name being called.
Anna?
I turned around, and there was this nice boy.
Anna, my name is Helmut Silverberg.
I know. Your friends call you hello? Hello, hello.
Hello, Anna. So I was wondering, if it's all right with you, could I walk you to school?
Oh, yes! As long as you're headed that way. Hello is 16, and I think he likes me.
I continued to see her on different occasions, some by coincidence and some on purpose.
I turned the corner and there he was, waiting for me again. He pretended like it was just a coincidence, but I definitely think it was on purpose. He definitely likes me.
The thing I remember most about her, besides her ability to communicate, is some of her body language when she was sitting in a club chair at my grandparents' home. She would, with her arms under her chin, and lean forward, which could be interpreted as being flirtatious.
I was born in Germany, but we moved here when I was 4. I have all kinds of hobbies. I like music, I like writing, I have a diary, and I have a cat named Morcha. So, tell me something about you.
Well, I come from Germany too. My parents are in Belgium, and there's no way that I can get to them. So I'm staying with my grandparents. And they're kind of old-fashioned, and they think that you're too young for me.
I'm 13.
And I'm 16.
But I will be 16 in 3 years.
I don't know whether you can be in love at age 16, really, but it was certainly attractive to her.
When will I see you again?
Well, I can see you every Wednesday afternoons and Wednesday evenings, and Thursday afternoons and Thursday evenings, and Saturday afternoons, Sunday afternoons, and Sunday evenings, and maybe even more.
He definitely loves me.
I think I was probably in love with her. She seemed to think so too.
He was 3 years older than me, and we had a wonderful relationship. And he was a very, very talented person. He wrote poetry, he painted, he was a wonderful musician. He played piano, he played guitar.
Sometimes I think I must already be asleep. All of this is just some nightmare. If I could just wake up, everything would be how it used to be. Remember how it used to be? If I still had my little sailboat, I'd get in it and float away. Far, far away to a place where, well, far away.
I'd go with you.
Evie, something terrible is going to happen.
No.
I can feel it.
In June 1942, in the morning, there came a card with a post, which was very ordinary postcard, and it says that
Heinz Gehringer has 3 days to report.
Why are they doing this?
With a backpack and a few belongings,
It will be slave
that
labor.
he will be transported to a work camp in Germany.
He's just a boy.
Don't worry, Moody. They won't harm me if I work hard.
the Nazis went after the young people because they didn't want Jews to survive, and especially young people who would be the parents who would have children later. So those were the people they wanted to kill first, so that there would be no new generation of Jews.
I don't want to go.
Of course you're not
It's
going.
getting too dangerous. It's time we disappeared.
What does that mean?
I've made arrangements for us to go into hiding.
Hiding?
We're gonna live with other people.
What other
And for
people?
how long?
Just for a little while, until the war ends.
A month. 2 months.
You will go with Moody. Heinz will go with me.
What?
Evie, 4 people are too many.
But why can't we all stay together?
It's too dangerous for a family to hide all 4 of us.
I don't want to go without you.
Verte, be a grown-up girl now. You must look after Moody for me. God bless you and keep you. If we are in 2 different places, there's more of a chance that at least 2 of us will survive.
We didn't tell anyone about our plans, of course, because you never know what would betray you. My family and the Frank family went probably into hiding at the same time.
Hiding? What does that mean? Where will we hide? With who and for how long? Why can't we all stay together? And what about our home? Will someone else live there? Look out our window, sleep in my bed? When will we come back? And what about my friends? What will happen to them?
My entire friendship with Anna was limited to 1942. One day I was due to come to her home on a Sunday afternoon and rang the doorbell, and there was no answer. I can't tell you exactly what I thought, but you have to understand that it was not unusual for people to just disappear.
Maybe they got away. People can get away.
I recall that I was very taken aback, that I was sad about it, not seeing her. I had seen her that morning, but that was the last time I saw her.
Maybe she got away.
My mother and me left in the morning and went right across Amsterdam to go to this new place where we were going to stay with the 2 school teacher, Mrs. Klompay.
Our contact from the resistance came to visit us and said we must have a hiding place within our hiding place.
He decided we should make a false partition at one end of the bathroom and tile it with a little trapdoor.
A hiding place within our hiding place.
They work very late one Sunday until they finish it.
They leave and we go to bed.
And in the night, we heard suddenly lorries outside and shouting and knocking on the doors.
to our new hiding place. We put the trap door on.
And my mother sat on the toilet and I sat on the floor next to her and waited. And a few minutes later we heard the Germans with their heavy boots clumping up the stairs, and my heart was beating so loud that I was sure they would hear it through the partition.
We hear them opening the bathroom door.
We hear them come in.
We hear them looking.
We hear them searching.
We hear them talking.
We hear one of them say, "Nobody's here."
They're walking away.
Out of the room.
Down the stairs.
Out of the house.
The door slams.
They're gone.
And this is something, when I talk to you about it now, I feel it as if it's still happening.
We're safe.
But I can't sleep for the rest of the night. The sun comes up and it all begins again. In hiding, the minutes turn into days, turn into weeks, turn into months. I'd give anything to be able to walk in the fresh air again, to feel the sunshine, to be free, easy. My mother and I have to sit at this kitchen table all day and whisper. We can't even move around.
Evie, the neighbors might hear you. No one can know that we're here.
I'm here, you're here. Moti, sometimes I lie in bed at night and kick at my sheets because I'm so and easy. I'm 14 years old, Moti. I want a normal life.
Miss Pompey will be home soon. Then we can move around. Then we can talk.
Talk, move around. I want to go ice skating on the canals, drink hot cocoa. I want to go back to school. I want to see my friends. I want us to be a family again. I miss Poppy. Miss Hines.
If you spend 2 years with one person day and night, of course you have a very, very close relationship. So I was really my mother's everything, and she was everything to me.
I had been to see friends who lived relatively far away. I was late coming home.
It's 10 minutes past 8. 10 minutes past curfew. And as I round the corner to my grandparents' house, there they are, German soldiers. They don't ask for identification. They don't need to. I'm wearing the yellow star.
They didn't say much. They just, one of them took me by my arm and told me to get on the truck.
And I'm on this truck for about a half an hour. And there's this young German guard who's sitting there staring straight ahead with a rifle. And I know that if I'm going to escape, that this is it. So I push the guard off balance and I jump off the truck and into the road. For a minute I think I'm safe, and then I see headlights, and I roll away again from the second truck. And then I'm up and I'm running and I'm running and I run to a place where I think I can hide, where I think I know people. But I don't ring their bell. And I just stay there for an hour or so. Then, when it's really dark, I go home.
So the removal of the scar was perhaps part of that feeling that this is enough. In other words, you have to risk this to get out of this in some way.
When I am promoted in my unit to Hitler Youth, our leaders give me a little puppy. And they tell me to keep the puppy with me day and night, to feed it and care for it, to let it sleep with me, to make it my property and responsibility. As the Fuhrer has said, we are one people and one nation. And the youth, we are going to be that people and that nation. Heil Hitler!
We've been in hiding now for almost 2 years. 2 years of having to be quiet, 2 years of peeking out windows, 2 years of being afraid. But today none of that matters. Today I don't feel afraid. Today is my birthday.
Happy birthday, Evie.
11th May 1944, it was my 15th birthday, and I was a bit excited. My mother and me went down to breakfast, and we were just going to start eating when we heard loud knocking on the door.
Verblübter Juden!
We're just visiting. We're not Jewish.
We haven't done anything.
Wir seien Juden.
They just marched us down the street and took us to the Gestapo headquarters where we were going to be interrogated. And there was no way we were just stunned into, well, we knew that was going to be the end for us, you know, that was something we had feared for all those 2 years, and it had happened now.
We're put into a small room where many other people are waiting.
I didn't know what to expect. I was very, very scared.
We waited and waited.
And then they came for me.
I only remember their uniforms and their way of speaking. They were always shouting.
Erzähl mal, was du weißt, und du wirst deiner Mutter bald wiedersehen.
Tell us everything we want to know, and then you will see your mother again.
Du wirst deinen Vater und Bruder auch sofort wiedersehen.
My father and brother. Papi, hide!
That was when I realized that they had also captured my father and brother.
Das ist ja klar, wir haben deine ganze Familie hier.
Of course, we have them as well.
Wie hat deine Mutter das Geld bekommen?
Where did your mother get the money from?
I don't know. Why won't you believe me?
The pure arrogance of them that they could get everything out of us what they wanted. They were the boss.
Wer hat dir geholfen?
Who helped you find places to hide?
I told you I don't know. I don't know.
Wir werden deinen Bruder foltern, wenn du nicht mit uns mitarbeitest.
We intend to torture your brother to death unless you cooperate with us.
No.
Wir werden dir sogleich zeigen, was wir mit ihm machen werden.
We will show you what we will do to him.
They are beating me and threatening me. Eventually they will realize I know nothing. If I knew anything, I would probably tell them. There's nothing to tell. My name is Eva Geringer. Today is my birthday. I'm 15 years old. This morning I woke up, I went down to breakfast to open my presents. And then they came for me.
The 50 years fall back, and it all comes really back to me. This was really the most horrendous experience I've been going through. I knew that we were all forecourt now, and we knew about the concentration camps. So I really had to come to terms now with perhaps my life was going to end there.
after I jumped from the Nazi truck, my grandparents just couldn't take it anymore. And even though it's very dangerous to try and escape, it's something that I had to risk. I am 16 years old. My parents have escaped from Germany and are living in Belgium, and I have to try and find them. I have to try and get across the border, but Jews are not allowed to travel, not allowed to cross borders, and if the Nazis catch me, they'll kill me. But if I stay, many friends have simply disappeared. Anna and her family are gone, but maybe they got away. And maybe I can get away too. So we arranged with a friend of the family to take us across the border. We have secret information about when it might be safe to try and cross, about when the border guards won't see us. So we hide in the fields, and we sneak into Belgium. Several days after saying goodbye to my grandparents, I'm in Brussels. And I've never been here before, and my parents don't know that I'm coming, but I have their address. So I step off the streetcar, and there, on the other side of the street, there's my father. And we haven't seen each other in 4 years.
Helma?
Father.
How did you find us? How did you get here?
By train, by foot, and by bicycle.
But how did you get across the border?
We snuck across.
4 years, Helma. We haven't seen you in 4 years. Your mother won't believe how much you've grown.
Is mother...
She's fine. Your mother's fine. She'll be so happy to see you.
He was stunned at first and happy to see me, of course, and the underlying feeling was always in some way related to the situation. Like, wonderful, I'm happy you're here. What are we going to do now?
After we were arrested on my birthday, my family is transported to Westerbork, a transit camp, a kind of holding camp for 1,000 other Jewish and Gypsy families. Waiting. A few days later, they put us on another train. 2 days, 3 days.
4 days, we don't know when it's day.
We don't know when it is night.
The train is like cattle cars.
They were cattle cars. It was just big wagon with 2 iron doors. There was nothing in it whatsoever. No bedding, nothing. We got buckets for toilet facilities.
100 people are pushed together in one car.
It's so tight we have to take turns standing, lying.
Sitting.
But sometimes the train stops.
Doors open, bread is thrown in.
Buckets of water for us to drink.
3 days.
4 days.
It's hot,
Boiling hot.
and the doors are closed.
And bolted shut from the outside.
Where are they taking us?
We knew we were going east, but we had no idea yet where we were going to go. Nobody said anything to us.
Saujuden, Flug der Mistbiene! Schnell, schnell! Flug des Saujuden!
But the train stops.
Yes, the doors of the train.
Open.
Raus, raus, raus! Raus, raus!
At least we can stretch, breathe a bit of air.
But then we saw on the platform the big sign, Auschwitz, and we knew this was the death camps. So again we thought, well, that's it. Our last hour had arrived.
Put it on, Evie.
It's hot.
Wear the hat and coat. They might let you keep it.
You look like a smart young lady now.
Männer auf die eine Seite!
Men and women to different sides.
God will protect you, Yvette.
Männer auf die eine Seite! Frauen auf die andere Seite!
And this is when I saw my father and mother for the last time, and we kissed goodbye, and then we separated, and my mother and me went to one side, and my father and mother to the other side.
Fünfer rein!
And then
Fünfer
mother
rein!
commands, rows of 5, rows of 5.
Fünfer rein!
And they looked at the rows of 5 and sorted through some people to the right and some people to the left.
The SS officer looks me up and down and indicates for me to go to the left. Soon Mutti joins me.
Many mothers lose their daughters to the other group. To the wrong side.
All the people who went to the wrong side went straight to the gas chambers and were never seen again.
As ridiculous as I look, this hat and coat makes me look older, saves my life.
We marched on into the entrance of the camp. That is this very famous picture with Arbeit macht frei, you know.
Work
And
will make you
Auschwitz.
free.
We were told to undress completely naked. And SS was walking around freely, poking at us and looking at us and laughing.
Mutti, why are they doing this? Tell them to stop.
So this was really all terrible degradation, because suddenly we were not human beings with a name. We were just naked women without name, without belongings.
I don't want a tattoo.
Evie. She's so young. Don't do the numbers so strong. Don't make them so big.
A/5272.
Don't hurt her. She's only a child. My child.
Why do they have to cut all of our hair?
And as well as my hair, my mother said, leave her a little bit of hair. And just in the front, I had a little inch of hair, which made me look a little bit less awful.
What happens now? What happens to me?
You have to get up every morning at 4 o'clock and stand for 2 hours appel, which is a roll call.
2 hours? Then why will it take him 2 hours?
Because the whole camp had to be counted, reported back to the SS.
How many women are here? 1,000?
1,000. There were tens of thousands, perhaps even 100,000 of people.
But then I have to stand here. Why?
You will have to stand there every morning and every evening for 2 hours in any weather.
There's no talking, no moving around.
No talking, no moving. If somebody sees you move, you will be beaten.
It is now late in the summer of 1944, and we've been in the camp for over 2 months. Sleeping is almost impossible. Tend to a bed, it's itchy and very smelly. At night, the bedbugs fall from the top bunks down onto anyone sleeping below. They are big black bugs that suck your blood.
In the morning, we get some tea. That's all we get for the whole day. In the evening, we get a chunk of horrible brown bread.
Some people try and keep part of their bread for the next day. Then people steal it in the night.
If that happens to you a few times, you will starve to death.
At night we see the flames They burn 24 hours and you can smell the flesh.
We can only deal with it by not believing.
We know. 100% we know, but we say that such a big camp must have so much rubbish to burn. That's what's burning. Just pretend it's not true.
The shower blocks and the gas chambers were built very similar. So we never knew if we were going to go to a shower or to a gas chamber.
They tell people they're going to have a shower. They're given a bar of soap and a towel. The doors open. The people are taken in. The doors close.
Germans were sitting on top, looking through little peepholes to see. After about half a minute, the people had collapsed, were lying on the floor, and were dead. And they watched that. And then after about a minute, they opened the door, and other prisoners, other people who were in the camp, had to take out the dead bodies.
By this time, the Nazis are after the Jews in Belgium too. So my parents arranged with the neighborhood lady to rent a townhouse on the outskirts of Brussels. But we have no idea how long we'll be there.
We were there a total of 26 months. We went into hiding in August 42, and we were liberated by a unit of the British Army on September 3rd, 1944. There's a significance in that date for me because that is the day the last transport left from Westerbork to Auschwitz with Anna Frank and her family.
Being in hiding, Mother and Father and Margot in our secret annex for 2 years. We were betrayed and arrested by the Nazis. We were then sent to Westerbork and put in cattle cars and sent to Auschwitz. Men and women to different sides. We were immediately separated from Father. The middle of winter. It's unbelievably cold. November, December, we have no shoes, no clothes. The itching and the lice, I just couldn't take it any longer. I ripped off all my clothes and wrapped myself in this blanket. It's all I have. It's not just that we're hungry and dirty and have to work hard. It's also, are we gonna live through tomorrow? December, January. Why? Freezing. My name is Anna Frank. My name is Eva Geringer. I am 15 years old. Margot and I are sent to a new camp, and now we're separated from Mother as well. I don't know if I have any parents anymore. I don't know if they're dead or alive. I think they must be dead. Mother! Oh, him! Heinz! Margot! Margot is sick. I wish for a scrap of paper or a pencil, a piece of bread. My feet are frostbitten. Sometimes the blood starts to stream through them and get a bit warm. And then it hurts. Very, very much. When I was in hiding, I used to dream of sleeping under a starry night. But now, Even the moon looks cruel and hollow.
We didn't know exactly what was happening to the people who were being deported. The depth of the crime and the devastation, we did not know about.
One night I wake up because something is biting my toes. It's a rat. A big rat. It must have smelled the blood. I wish I could escape.
The chance to escape was real, but nevertheless people did try to escape, but that was really more out of resignation. They had given up, because they were always caught. If they stepped out of line, the Germans just let their dog loose and the dogs ripped the people apart, or they were caught and taken back to the camp, and then there was public hanging.
The SS people, these men, they're not much older than me. You expect people like that to look vicious, but they don't. They're boys. How is it possible for them to be so cruel?
I think it was a way of being trained and educated. And it's a long process of several years to obey order and just to do what they are ordered to do. There were stories going out the camp how it was possible that those Nazis, the young SS boys, became so cruel.
After I had the puppy for about 6 months, after I had kept it with me day and night, fed it and cared for it, loved it, we were told to report to a unit meeting and bring our puppies. Our leaders welcomed us. They praised us. They told us we were the future of Germany. And then they ordered me to take my puppy. They ordered all of us to take our puppies. They ordered us to strangle our puppies. They told us if we didn't do it, we'd never be chosen, we'd never be SS, we'd never be real Germans. I promise at all times to do my duty for the Fuhrer. So help me God. I did it. I did what I was told. I strangled my puppy. An order is an order, yes? I have been a member of the Nazi youth group since I was 7. I will fight in Germany's total war. It is win or die for Germany. Heil Hitler!
We had, of course, no official news what was happening with the running of the war, but we heard aeroplanes, we heard shooting and guns in the distance, and we noticed that the Germans become very nervous, and they evacuated the camp slowly. They took everyday transport of people away from the camp.
One morning, my mother and I wake up.
It is January.
And the Germans are gone. And most of the prisoners are gone too.
I am too weak to go with them.
And I won't leave my mother. There are only a handful of people like me who are able to move around. And we start to investigate the concentration camp.
It is very, very cold. Winter.
I was with a Polish woman walking around aimlessly to look what we could find or see. We came across a horse which had been shot.
The horse is steaming from the heat, from the body. The first thing we think is meat.
And the Polish woman said, "Go quickly and get a knife. We must cut into this meat right away before it gets frozen and it's so hard that we can't carve it anymore."
So I went in, I got a big knife, and we start to cut into the horse, into the belly part. And we come across something particular. We cut into it, and suddenly we realize it's a wound, and there's a young horse in it. I don't think I can eat that.
And she said, oh yes, we'll make a very nice stew out of it. And we did. And when I think about this now, I just can't believe it that I really did that. But this is the way we were after 8 months in the concentration camp. Food was really everything for us.
Lucy, listen to me. We can't stay here like this. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to go to the men's camp.
We knew the men's camp was in Auschwitz somewhere near, and my mother didn't really want to let me go.
You don't know where to go, how to find
I'll
it.
find it.
It's too dangerous.
I must go. I'll find coffee and Hans. I'll come back for you. We'll all be together again.
Everything was covered in snow. It was very, very cold. There were no roads, no way of really knowing. But somehow, I seemed to have gone in the right direction. And I walked for hours, and it was crossfire. I heard guns and shooting, and it was very, very scary. Sometimes I heard bullets flying over my head, and I went to lie low down. But eventually I arrived into the big main camp. It was Auschwitz men camp, and suddenly I came across an old man who stood there looking very lost, and he looked slightly familiar to me, and I went to him, and he was very, very thin, and a very thin head, and only very gentle brown eyes looked out of him, and we looked at each other, and he said to me, "You look familiar, I think I know you." I said, "Yes, I'm Eva Gariner." He said, "I'm Otto Frank." And his father, I said, Yes. "Do you know where Anne is? Do you know where Margaret? Have you seen my wife?" I said, No, never saw them. Have you seen
Heinz? Have you seen my father?
He said, "Yes, but they are not here anymore."
I have found Otto Frank, Anne's father, but not my own father, not my brother, but Poppy Heinz. They are gone. But the possibility that they might still be alive helps me make the trip back through the snow. And somehow I find my way back to the women's camp. My mother is alive. I am alive. Because we've had each other, we're both alive.
But 1 o'clock in the morning, I was lying on the roof of that house, and I saw an armored vehicle turn the corner down the road, and I was holding my breath until I saw the white star of the Allied armies.
Hey!
And they went another 50 yards, turned around, and came back, and in turning around, knocked over a telephone pole, and stopped in front of the house, and came in.
And all of a sudden, there are 100 people in our kitchen from all over the area. A man comes in with a bottle of cognac, and a baker who's been hoarding all of his flour during the war starts baking bread. And we have a feast. And my mother kisses them all.
That was it. The next day we were able to go out and walk in the street.
After Auschwitz is liberated by the Russians, it takes my mother and I 5 months to return home to Amsterdam. We traveled from Auschwitz in Poland to the Ukraine in Russia, to Odessa across the Black Sea to Turkey, across the Mediterranean and the south of France, north to Paris, through Belgium, and into Holland.
And there we stood without any money, and we had to get to our place. So we just went into a tram and asked the conductor, could we go free? We have no money. We looked terrible anyway. We just come from concentration camp, and they didn't take much notice, but they let us ride free. And we went back to our apartment on the Merwedeplein. There was still somebody in it who had kept it for us. That lady was very happy to see us, and everything, she had left everything how it was, and it was really weird to walk around and see everything how we had left it after 3 years where so much had happened to us. We had gone to hell and back, and there stood all our things untouched.
What is it, Evie? Pencil marks. We will measure you every month and see how much you've grown. You'll be safe here. We'll all be safe here.
On April 30th, 1945, Adolf Hitler committed suicide, and Germany surrendered. The war is over, and we've lost. We've lost so much.
5,860,000 Jews died in the Holocaust.
I was following orders.
5,860,000 Jews died in the Holocaust.
I promise, at all times, to do my duty for the Fuhrer. So help me God. My name is Helmuth Silverberg. I was born in Germany in 1926 and later moved to Holland to escape the Nazis. My nickname was Hello, which is what Anna Frank called me in her diary. When I was a teenager, I escaped again and hid from the Nazis in a townhouse in Belgium.
My name is Ed Silverberg now. After the war, I married my wife, Marlies. We live in Hackensack, New Jersey. We have 2 children and 2 grandchildren.
My name is Eva Geringer. I was born in Austria in 1929. When I was a teenager, I was in hiding for 22 months in Holland. I was arrested by the Nazis and spent 9 months in the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp.
After the war, I married Schloss. We live in London, England. We have 3 daughters and 4 grandchildren.
What about Anna and her family? What happened to them?
Anne's mother, Edith Frank, died at the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp. Anne and her sister, Margot, died at the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp within days of each other.
Only Otto Frank survived. After the war, in 1953, he married my mother. We really wanted to make a new family again.
My brother, my son, Heinz Geringer, was evacuated from Auschwitz and forced to march to Mauthausen, an Austrian concentration camp. He died there several days before the liberation.
My husband,
My father, Poppy, Erich Geringer,
was evacuated from Auschwitz and forced to march to Mauthausen. He died there, several days before the liberation. They have no graves.
My name is Anna Frank. I was born in Germany in 1929. I did not survive the Holocaust. I died in a concentration camp 6 weeks before the war was over. I was 15 years old. I did not get married. I did not have children. I did not have grandchildren. I had a diary. I dreamed of becoming a great fighter.
I have never forgotten the type of person she was at age 13. I imagine sometimes what she would have been like at 14, 15, or perhaps 18, and what she could have become.